What is the purpose of requesting universities on 6 continents to participate in a symbolic event where an idea is placed on the doors of university libraries? Let's first consider the idea itself, called public talks. In short summary, it is a public negotiating process that comes into play after all traditional negotiations have failed. Public talks would need to be established by a major nation, the UN, the EU, or some other large international institution. This organization will need to create and oversee the necessary rules and terms for this level communication process. This last point is very important. The foundation of public talks is all about creating a level communication playing field between two sides of a conflict. The initial steps surrounding this new communication structure would naturally require representatives of many nations to participate. The objective would be to ensure the public talks will be widely accepted as a fair and neutral platform. Many debates and discussions in the media would surround this initial phase. In turn, this would cause many citizens around the world to have expectations about public talks well before it was ever used. The central communications instrument of public talks is a series of 8 to 16-page magazine-sized dialogue documents. These would be distributed primarily online, yet also through one or two major print media within the regions directly affected. The international community would also have access to this information through at least one large print media. Once established, either side of a large-scale conflict could put forth its views, ideas, and historical narratives before the world public without any guarantee of response in kind from its adversary. So why would this other side respond to this initiative? The answer is simple. If they don't meet this challenge directly, their adversary's view of history may gain increased acceptance. Thus, it is the ability of public talks to influence world opinion that will drive this process forward. These dialogue documents would constitute a new communication media, unlike anything we have seen before. This would be a new form of news that would come directly and unfiltered from a group of leaders. From the perspective of the public, this process encourages a direct clash of views that will tend to lead to a greater public recognition of historical truth. We fully expect that some political elites will oppose public talks. These opponents, however, will be in the untenable position of maintaining that the international status quo is fine and no new negotiating ideas should be tried. This short video cannot address the many details, ramifications, and expected objections to this new form of public diplomacy. I would thus encourage individuals to review the website publictalks.org. Before considering this university event, recognize that there is an entirely different way to introduce public talks. One could argue, and some have, that the easier and more natural way to introduce public talks is to propose it to some political group. They in turn would challenge their adversary in a very dramatic way, and this would set a wide range of events into motion. But this would introduce public talks in a very ideological way. Instead, we are seeking to introduce public talks as a universal process that is independent of ideology. Now, consider this symbolic event. The first phase of the planning for this event is for universities on all 6 continents to agree to participate. This will be followed by a web conference with all the participating schools. At that time, an agreed-upon date will be set for a few months in the future. At that point, the team here at the Institute will be taking elaborate steps to expand the numbers of schools on each continent, and perhaps some of these schools will help with this phase. The goal will be for this event to catch fire. Envision how journalists at a national or international media would view this. They will see university organizations all over the world that have agreed to place an idea on library doors on the same day. This is an unprecedented event. Isn't the next question, what is this idea? And that is why the moment may come when public talks catches fire at a whole different level. Because reporting on this story is going to lead to the publication of that 1,400-word description by a major newspaper and magazine, and many other print media will follow. This plan is designed to ignite a worldwide media event over the heads of political leaders. Citizens everywhere will have in their hands a description of a formal alternative to traditional talks. This may turn out to be a far more compelling news story than one might first anticipate. Citizens everywhere have been watching conflicts and failed negotiations for decades. And for the first time ever, they will be reading about a process that allows them to become direct witnesses to the central details of disputes between societies. Directly after this media chain reaction takes place, opinion polls in many nations will ask this question: after private talks fail, do you support public talks? Here is the theory that this event will put to the test. Public opinion polls in virtually all nations will overwhelmingly support the use of public talks. Political leaders respond to publicity, and that is what this university event is about: moving political leaders to act. To bring all this about, to create this symbolic event, and to trigger these many events in the media, we have gone to universities. It is, after all, the historic responsibility of the university to advance new ideas.